Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we'll dive into Chapter 7, the strategy formulation, specifically in corporate strategy. We'll explore how businesses decide whether to expand, focus, or diversify. Our goal is to understand how companies can align their strategies to maintain a competitive edge and create value in the long run. By the end of this presentation, you'll see how strategic decisions shape the success or failure of large corporations in a dynamic business environment. Good evening once again. I am Fiona Marie, and I will be discussing about corporate strategy and why it's essential for a company's success. Corporate strategy is all about how a business makes decisions for the company as a whole and ensures that all parts of the business work well together. It focuses on three strategies, which we'll go over one by one. The first strategy is the directional strategy. This is about the company's overall goal, and it answers the question, where is the company going? Gusto ba ng company to grow bigger, stay stable, or um, reduce their size to focus on their most important part? For example, Nike, the footwear company, they might choose to expand by launching new products or entering new markets. Other times, a company may decide to stay stable or pull back if things aren't going well. The next strategy is the portfolio analysis, which answers the question, what markets or products should a company focus on? Companies need to decide which industries or products to compete in because this helps the company decide where to invest their money and effort. Companies like Nike, diba, they have multiple business areas or products such as shoes, mga damit, and accessories. Each of these is called a business unit or a product line. This strategy also helps management decide which products need more investment and which ones need less. It's about balancing the company's efforts para ma-achieve nila yung primary goal ng company. Lastly, the parenting strategy. It answers the question, how do we keep the business units working together? Think of corporate management like parents managing a family. Na yung each product or business unit is like a child with different needs and strengths. This is about making sure that all the company's different parts like products, teams, and departments support each other. The goal is to create synergy, which means that by working together, the business units achieve more than they could if sila lang mag-isa. For example, Nike's marketing team can promote both shoes and clothing in the same campaigns, which can save them money. Let's move on to directional strategy. Directional strategy focuses on the path the company will take. There are three key questions that every corporation needs to consider upon deciding on their growth strategy. The first question is, should we expand our operations, cut back, or continue as we are? This decision is crucial kasi it determines how a company will allocate its resources. For example, if a company is doing well and makakita sila ng opportunities for growth, di ba it might choose to expand. However, if yung sales niya are declining, it may need to cut back. The second question to consider is, should we focus on our current industry or diversify into new ones? Concentrating means putting all your efforts into what you already do best. This can help a company become a leader in its field. On the other hand, diversifying means exploring new markets or industries. While this can mabawasan yung risk by spreading out activities, it can also lead to challenges. The third question is, if we want to grow nationally or globally, should we do it by developing our own resources or by acquiring others? Internal development means building capabilities and expanding from within the company, like launching new products. While external growth involves mergers, acquisitions, or forming strategic alliances with other companies. This can provide faster access to new markets and resources. There are three types of directional strategy. First, we have the growth. As the name suggests, this is all about expanding the business. A company can grow by opening more branches, launching new products, or entering new markets. There are different ways to grow. We have concentration and diversification. Under concentration, merong vertical and horizontal growth. In vertical growth, this is where the business takes over part of its supply chain, while on horizontal growth naman, it's about expanding into related markets. And so diversification, we have concentric and conglomerate. In concentric, a company offers new products related to what they already offer, while on conglomerate naman, it's about offering completely unrelated products. Next, we have the stability strategy. This means the company decides to pause major changes and keep things steady. It's a safe approach when the market is uncertain. There are three ways this strategy is applied. First is the pause, proceed with caution. The company waits before making big moves, often due to market uncertainty. Second is the no change, and third is the profit strategy. The focus is just making as much profit as possible from existing operations. Finally, there's the retrenchment strategy, which is about cutting back to survive or improve efficiency. This strategy is used when a company is struggling and needs to scale down to recover. Here are some ways this can happen. Turnaround. It is about making changes to improve performance, like rebranding or cutting costs. We have captive company. It is about relying on a bigger, stronger partner for support. Sell out or divestment. It is selling parts of the business that are not profitable. And lastly, bankruptcy or liquidation. Now, we will further discuss one of the most important corporate directional strategies, growth strategies. Growth helps companies lower their costs by increasing production volume. This is called the experience curve. As production increases, the per unit cost decreases, which boosts profits. This is super important, especially if the company's industry is growing fast or if there's intense competition with price wars, where competitors lower their prices to get more customers. However, companies need to reach a critical mass to operate efficiently. This refers to achieving large-scale production, which allows companies to produce at a lower cost. If they don't, they may suffer losses unless they find a niche market where they can charge higher prices. There are two approaches to growth, internal and external. In internal growth, it involves expanding the company's operations either domestically or internationally. A company might increase production, enter new markets, or develop new products. While sa external growth naman, it is achieved through mergers, acquisitions, or strategic alliances. Let's now dive into vertical growth. This is when a company expands by taking control of parts of its supply chain. It can happen in two ways. First is the backward integration. This is when a company decides to make its own supplies. For example, Smithfield Foods, a big pork processor, bumili sila ng farm to raise its pigs. By doing this, they cut costs and ensure they have quality meat. Second is the forward integration. This is when a company sells its products directly to customers. For instance, yung FedEx, binili nila yung King Cost to provide shipping services directly. Vertical growth has several benefits. It can help companies through reducing their costs, ensure quality, and also to reach customer better. However, there are some risks. If a company invests a lot in one area, baka mahirapan na sila to change direction later if needed. This is known as reduced flexibility. Now, let's talk about vertical integration, which describes how much of the supply chain a company controls. There are three main types. First is the full integration. The company does everything. For example, big oil companies like British Petroleum own oil rigs, refineries, and gas stations. They control the whole process from getting the oil to selling gas. Second is the deeper integration. This is when a company makes some of its products but buys the rest. Lastly, the quasi-integration. Here, a company doesn't make any of its key supplies but purchases most of its needs from outside suppliers. This means they can ensure they get what they need without owning the entire process. To sum it up, concentration strategies like vertical growth help companies optimize their operations and maintain a competitive edge. By understanding these strategies, businesses can make smarter decisions about how to grow and adapt in a changing market. That's all for my report. Thank you for listening.
So hello everyone, good evening. I am Farhana Pu, I'm your next reporter. My topic is about horizontal growth. Let's start by defining horizontal growth. This strategy involves expanding a company's operation either by entering new geographic markets or by increasing the range of products and services it offers within its current markets. Essentially, the firm aims to increase its market presence on the same level of the industry value chain. One common feature of horizontal growth is horizontal integration, which means the company operates in multiple locations at the same stage of production or service delivery. For example, Jollibee has expanded its product lines and opened stores in other countries like the US and Vietnam. So there are different strategies companies use to enter new international markets and achieve horizontal growth. The first one is exporting. Exporting is one of the simplest methods. It involves shipping goods from one country to another. Many firms use export management companies to handle the logistics and sales in foreign markets. Example is San Miguel Corporation exports beverages like San Miguel beer to various countries. Next one is licensing. It allows a company to grant another firm in a host country the rights to produce or sell its products. For example, Anheuser-Busch licensed its Budweiser beer production to local companies in Japan and Australia, which allowed it to enter those markets without building its own facilities. Another strategy is franchising, where a company lets local operators use its brand name and business model. Its example is Yum Brands that have used this strategy to franchise KFC and Pizza Hut outlets all over the world, which allows for rapid international expansion without directly managing the foreign locations. Another strategy is joint ventures. It involved partnering with a local firm in a foreign market to share resources, risks, and profits. A great example is Walmart partnering with Bharti Enterprises in India to start wholesale operations, allowing Walmart to tap into the Indian market with local expertise. On the other hand, acquisitions involve purchasing a local company in the target market to gain quick access to the market, customers, and infrastructure. For example, InBev acquired Anheuser-Busch in 2008 to establish a strong presence in North America, quickly gaining market share and resources. Another strategy that companies can use for horizontal growth is greenfield development, which involves building new facilities from scratch in a foreign country. This is a costly and time-consuming process but offers complete control over the new operations. A notable example is BMW, which built factories in South Carolina to produce Z3 and Z4 cars for the American market. Next is production sharing. It refers to moving parts of a company's production process to countries with lower labor costs. This helps companies cut down on expenses while maintaining production quality. An example is Maytag, which shifted its refrigeration production to Mexico to take advantage of lower labor costs and reduce operational expenses. Turnkey operations. It involved building facilities in a foreign country and then transferring them to the host country upon completion. For instance, Fiat built an automobile plant in Russia to produce cars for the Lada brand, and once the plant was operational, it was transferred to Russian control. Another strategy is build, operate, transfer concept. Both model is often used in large infrastructure projects, particularly in developing countries. Under this model, a private company builds the infrastructure, operates it for a set period to recover its investment, and then transfer ownership to the host government or entity. The last strategy is the management contracts. It occurs when a foreign company manages the operations of a facility on behalf of the host country. This is often used when governments take control of foreign-owned assets but still need management expertise. It allows the foreign company to earn revenue through management fees without owning the facility. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elame A. Cuba, and I am the third reporter for tonight's lecture. So I'm going to discuss about the controversies in directional growth strategy. We are going to compare different growth strategies, namely vertical growth, horizontal growth, concentration, and diversification, whilst highlighting their effectiveness based on research findings. So first we have vertical versus horizontal growth. So vertical growth This involves expanding operations either upstream or towards the suppliers or downstream towards the customers. It has the highest success rate at 80% over 22 years, while horizontal growth has a lower survival rate of 50%. This is where a company expands into new markets or product lines at the same level. So this suggests that vertical growth may provide more stability and opportunities for success than horizontal growth. Next is concentration versus diversification. So concentration, this involves in focusing on a single product line or market, while diversification spreads risk by entering new areas. Research indicates that related diversification leads to better performance and longevity than pure concentration strategies. This means businesses are generally more successful when they leverage their existing assets before branching into new territories. Next is concentric versus conglomerate diversification. Concentric diversification involves expanding into related areas with a survival rate of 35%, while conglomerate diversification expands into unrelated areas at a 28% survival rate. This indicates that concentric diversification is more effective than conglomerate diversification. This supports the idea that related growth strategies foster greater synergy and resource utilization. In summary, the evidence suggests that companies should prioritize vertical growth and related diversification to maximize their chances of long-term success, as these strategies leverage existing capabilities and reduce risks. So we have diversification strategies. Research indicates a curvilinear relationship between the relatedness of a new business and performance, represented by an inverted U-shaped curve. If a new business is too familiar to the acquiring firm, it offers little incremental value, leading to only marginal performance improvements. Conversely, if the business is completely unrelated, it may lack synergy and integration potential. The ideal scenario occurs when the new business is different yet related, providing new resources and capabilities, which significantly enhances performance. So we have internal versus external growth. Firms can grow through internal means, which involves developing new products or services, or through external means, which involves acquisitions, mergers, and alliances. So there has been a substantial rise in the value of global acquisitions. This highlights that many companies pursue acquisitions to expand capabilities and market presence. However, research shows that companies growing internally generally perform better financially than those relying on acquisitions. So we have HP's acquisition of Compaq as an example. This resulted in a decline in stock value, illustrating common pitfalls such as reduced investment in R&D, high acquisition costs, and decreased customer satisfaction post-merger. Improving acquisition performance. To enhance the chances of successful acquisitions, firms should align acquisitions with strategic objectives and conduct thorough due diligence. So this process includes identifying numerous potential candidates and carefully assessing them. Studies indicate that successful acquirers typically start with small, lower-risk acquisitions before moving on to larger targets. Previous experience with the target company in areas like R&D or marketing can also boost the likelihood of success. Cisco's acquisition criteria. Cisco emphasizes three key criteria when evaluating potential acquisitions. First, we have relatively small size. So this means that smaller firms are often easier to integrate and manage. Next is we have comparable organizational culture, indicating that similar cultures facilitate smoother transitions and employee satisfaction. Lastly, we have physical proximity. So close geographical location aids in integration and collaboration. Now we have stability strategies. So stability strategies involve a corporation choosing to continue its existing operations without pursuing aggressive growth or diversification. While this approach may be perceived as a lack of ambition, it can be suitable for successful companies in stable and predictable environments. While stability strategies can be effective in certain contexts, companies must balance maintaining their current position with the need for innovation and responsiveness to market shifts to avoid long-term stagnation. There are three popular stability strategies. First, we have pause or proceed with caution strategy. This provides companies with an opportunity to make incremental improvements without significant changes. It is designed as a short-term approach, and it has gained popularity during the late 2008 financial crisis. This is when many companies, particularly banks, were forced to freeze lending and reassess their positions while waiting for government intervention. So pause or proceed with caution strategy is a strategic approach that allows firms to stabilize and prepare for future challenges, demonstrating that temporarily slowing down can be an essential step in long-term planning and success. Another strategy is the no-change strategy. This involves a decision to maintain existing operations and policies without pursuing new initiatives or changes. It is effective in stable environment, and this provides short-term stability but can also lead to complacency. This can be beneficial in stable environments, which allows the companies to focus on maintaining profitability. However, reliance on this approach without vigilance for emerging threats can lead to vulnerability, especially when external market conditions shift. Lastly, we have profit strategy. So this involves maintaining current operations while pretending that the company's challenges are temporary. So it is employed when a company is faced with declining sales. This may offer short-term relief during challenging times. Its reliance can undermine a company's long-term viability. Addressing underlying issues proactively through retrenchment is typically a more effective approach to restore competitive strength and ensure sustainable success. Now we have retrenchment strategies. So these are critical for companies facing severe performance challenges. By implementing various approaches from turnarounds to liquidation, management aims to eliminate weaknesses and improve the company's competitive position, ensuring its long-term viability. Under retrenchment strategies, we have turnaround strategy. So it focuses on enhancing operational efficiency for companies facing pervasive issues that have not yet reached a critical level. So it aims to improve performance in poorly performing firms, especially within mature industries, by reducing costs and selling off non-essential assets. So we have phases of the strategy. First is we have contraction, then consolidation. Contraction, so this initial phase involves swift actions to halt losses, often through significant cutbacks in size and cost. For instance, when Howard Stringer became CEO of Sony in 2005, he eliminated 10,000 jobs, closed 11 plants, and divested unprofitable electronic lines, effectively stopping the bleed. Then we have consolidation. So after contraction, the focus shifts to stabilizing the leaner organization. This phase involves streamlining operations, reducing overhead, and ensuring that all functional activities are cost-justified. It's a critical period for the company, as improper management during consolidation can lead to the loss of key talent. Captive company strategy. A business sacrifices its independence for the security of guaranteed sales, particularly in situations where it has a weak competitive position. So this strategy involves aligning closely with a larger, more stable partner, often in exchange for becoming dependent on that partner for a significant portion of its sales. So this strategy is typically adopted by companies facing poor sales and increasing losses, where a full turnaround is not visible. Simpson Industries serves as a case study, as it agreed to become the sole supplier of auto parts to General Motors in exchange for securing nearly 80% of its production sales Through long-term contracts with GM, Simpson allowed GM to conduct thorough inspections of its facilities and operations, fostering a relationship that ensured stability. The captive company strategy provides a lifeline for struggling firms by securing sales through long-term contracts with larger partners. So while this approach offers short-term stability and cost savings, it also results in substantial dependence, highlighting the importance of careful consideration in such strategic decisions. So we have sell-out or divestment strategy. Sell-out strategy is adopted when a company cannot recover independently or find a larger partner to stabilize its operation. So we have Northwest Airlines acquisition by Delta Airlines in 2008 to illustrate this approach. While divestment is a strategy aimed to streamline operations and focus on more profitable areas. So we have divestment. The strategy aims to streamline operations and focus on more profitable areas. So examples are Ford's sale of Jaguar and Land Rover. So Ford sold its struggling Jaguar and Land Rover units to Tata Motors for $2 billion in 2008, having invested significantly more in attempts to revitalize these brands. The sale proceeds were intended to support Ford's path to profitability. Next is we have General Electric's appliance business. Similarly, General Electric decided to divest its slow-growth appliance division, focusing resources on more promising segments. Then we have Whirlpool and Lego. So Whirlpool divested Maytag's Hoover vacuum unit after its acquisition to align better with its strategic goals. Lego also sold its theme parks to concentrate on its core toy manufacturing business. When a corporation struggles to recover, the sell-out strategy offers a viable exit by securing a sale that benefits shareholders and employees. Divestment further enables companies to refine their focus by shedding underperforming divisions, allowing them to concentrate resources on more profitable areas and strengthen their competitive position. And the last strategy we have is bankruptcy or liquidation strategy. So bankruptcy, this process aims to settle obligations and potentially emerge as a stronger entity capable of competing in a better environment. This is when a company is in a poor competitive position within an attractive industry. It may opt for bankruptcy, surrendering management to the courts. Then we have liquidation. This involves closing the firm and converting its assets into cash to pay off obligations and distribute any remaining funds to shareholders. Liquidation allows management and the board of directors to make decisions rather than leaving them to the bankruptcy court, which may overlook shareholder interests. This can be a more controlled and prudent option for distressed companies. So, a significant issue is that top management may struggle to acknowledge the severity of the company's weaknesses, fearing personal blame. This denial can lead to misattributing problems to temporary factors and opting for short-term profit strategies instead of confronting the need for bankruptcy or liquidation. So this avoidance can trap the company in a cycle of decline characterized by secrecy, denial, and passivity. So strong governance from the board of directors is essential to ensure that management recognizes when to cease operations and to protect shareholders' interests. In summary, when faced with dire financial straits, companies have the unappealing options of bankruptcy or liquidation. While bankruptcy aims to rehabilitate the company, liquidation focuses on asset conversion and closure. Effective oversight from a strong board of directors is crucial to guide management toward timely and prudent decisions, preventing a cycle of denial and decline.
Good evening, everyone. Now, let us proceed to the topic Portfolio Analysis. I am Aliona Jasper G. Sanarillos, your reporter. One of the most popular aids to developing corporate strategy in a multiple business corporation is portfolio analysis. Portfolio analysis is a systematic way to analyze the products and services that make up an association's business portfolio. In portfolio analysis, top management views its product lines and business units as a series of investments that top management must constantly judge to ensure the best return on the corporation's invested money. Two of the most popular portfolio techniques are BGC Growth Share Matrix and GE Business Screen. BCG, or the Boston Consulting Group Growth Share Matrix, is the simplest way to portray a corporation's portfolio of investments. In the illustration, a unit's relative competitive position is defined as its market share in the industry divided by that of the largest other competitor. Above 1.0, relative competitive position belongs to the market leader. Business growth rate is the percentage of market growth, that is, the percentage by which sales of a particular unit classification of products have increased. The BCG matrix assumes that other things being equal, a growing market is attractive. As you can see in the illustration, the line separating areas of high and low relative competitive position is set at 1.5x. A product line or business unit must have relative strengths of this magnitude to ensure that it will have the dominant position needed to be a star or cash cow. On the other hand, a product line or unit having a relative competitive position less than 1.0 has dog status. Each product or unit is represented in the illustration by a circle. The area of the circle represents the relative significance of each business unit or product line to the corporation in terms of assets or sales generated. Let us now define what each area means. Question marks are products with low market share and high market growth. These are sometimes called problem children or wildcats. These are new products with the potential for success, but they need a lot of cash for development. If such a product is to gain enough market share to become a market leader and thus a star, money must be taken from more mature products and spent on the question mark. This is a fish or cat bait decision in which management must decide if the business is worth the investment needed. For example, after years of fruitlessly experimenting with an electric car, General Motors finally decided in 2006 to take a chance on developing the Chevrolet Volt. Next is the stars, which has high market share and high market growth. They are market leaders that are typically at the peak of their product life cycle and are able to generate enough cash to maintain their high share of the market and usually contribute to the company's profits. An example is the HP's printer business, which has been called HP's crown jewel because of its 41% market share in printers and its control of the replacement cartridge market. On its own, it accounted for more than half of HP's operating profit. However, when a star's market growth rate slows, it becomes a cash cow. So what is cash cows? Cash cows has high market share and low market growth. It typically brings in far more money than is needed to maintain their market share. In this declining stage of their life cycle, these products are milked for cash that will be invested in new question marks. Expenses such as advertising and R&D are reduced. An example is the Panasonic's video cassette recorders or the VCRs, which moved to this category when sales declined and DVD player or recorders replaced them. Question marks unable to obtain dominant market share by the time the industry growth rate inevitably slows become dogs. Dogs have low market share and low market growth. It do not have the potential to bring in much cash. Dogs should be either sold off or managed carefully for the small amount of cash they can generate. Example is the DuPont, the inventor of nylon, sold its textiles unit in 2003 because the company wanted to eliminate its low-margin products and focus more on its growing biotech business. The same was true of IBM when it sold its PC business to China's Lenovo Group in order to emphasize its growing services business. The BCG Growth Share Matrix is a very well-known portfolio concept with some clear advantages. It is quantifiable and easy to use. Cash cow, dog, question mark, and star are easy to remember terms for referring to a corporation's business units or products. Unfortunately, the BCG Growth Share Matrix also has some serious limitations, which are The use of highs and lows to form 4 categories is too simplistic. The link between market share and profitability is questionable. Growth rate is only one aspect of industry attractiveness. Product lines or business units are considered only in relation to one competitor. And market share is only one aspect of overall competitive position. The next matrix is very similar to the BCG matrix, and you can actually view the GE matrix is a kind of the BCG matrix. However, the GE business screen, in contrast to the BCG growth share matrix, includes much more data in its two key factors than just business growth rate and comparable market share. General Electric, with the assistance of the McKinsey and Company consulting firm, developed a more complicated matrix, which is the GE Business Screen. It is sometimes called the McKinsey matrix. The portfolio, which is analyzed with the matrix, may include products, services, or entire SBUs owned by the company. Business Screen includes 9 cells based on long-term industry attractiveness and business strength competitive position. In the illustration, industry attractiveness includes market growth rate, industry profitability, size, and pricing practices, among other possible opportunities and threats. Business strength or competitive position includes market share as well as technological position, profitability, and size, among other possible strengths and weaknesses. The individual product lines or business units are identified by a letter and plotted as circles on the GE Business Screen. The area of each circle is in proportion to the size of the industry in terms of sales. The pie slices within the circles depict the market shares of the product lines or business units. To plot product lines or business units on the GE Business Screen, follow these 4 steps. First is to select criteria to rate the industry for each product line or business unit. Assess overall industry attractiveness for each product line or business unit on a scale from 1, very unattractive, to 5, very attractive. Second is to select the key factors needed for success in each product line or business unit. Assess business strength or competitive position for each product line or business unit on a scale of 1, very weak, to 5, very strong. Third is you need to plot each product line's or business unit's current position on a matrix as that depicted in the figure. And the last, you need to plot the firm's future portfolio, assuming that present corporate and business strategies remain unchanged. Is there a performance gap between projected and desired portfolios? If so, this gap should serve as a stimulus to seriously review the corporation's current mission, objectives, strategies, and policies. Overall, the 9-cell GE Business Screen is an improvement over the BCG Growth Share Matrix. The GE Business Screen considers many more variables and does not lead to such simplistic conclusions. It recognizes, for example, that the attractiveness of an industry can be assessed in many different ways, other than simply using growth rate. And it thus allows users to select whatever criteria they feel are most appropriate to their situation. This matrix, however, does have some shortcomings. It can get quite complicated and cumbersome, and the numerical statements of industry attractiveness and business strength or competitive position give the appearance of objectivity, but they are in really subjective judgment that may vary from one person to another, and it cannot effectively depict the positions of new products or business units in developing industries. Those are the 2 most popular portfolio techniques. Now let us proceed to the advantages and limitations of portfolio analysis. Some of its advantages are it encourages top management to evaluate each of the corporation's businesses individually and to set objectives and allocate resources for each. Next is it stimulates the use of externally oriented data to supplement management's judgment. It raises the issue of cash flow availability for use in expansion and growth. Last is its graphic depiction facilitates communication. And the limitations are defining product or market segments is difficult. Next, it suggests the use of standard strategies that can miss opportunities or be impractical, and it provides an illusion of scientific rigor when when in reality, positions are based on subjective judgment and some other. Now let us discuss about the managing of a strategic alliance portfolio. Just as product lines or business units form a portfolio of investments that top management must constantly juggle to ensure the best return on the corporation's invested money, strategic alliances can also be viewed as a portfolio investments of money, time, and energy. The way a company manages these intertwined relationships can significantly influence corporate competitiveness. Alliances are thus recognized as an important source of competitive advantage and superior performance. A study of 25 leading European corporations found 4 tasks of multi-alliance management that are necessary for successful alliance portfolio management. First is developing and implementing a portfolio strategy for each business unit and a corporate policy for managing all the alliances of the entire company. Alliances are primarily determined by business units. The task of alliance policy is to strategically align all of the corporation's alliance activities with the corporate strategy and corporate values. Every new alliance is thus checked against corporate policy before it is approved. Second is the monitoring the alliance portfolio in terms of implementing business unit strategies and corporate strategy and policies. Each alliance is measured in terms of achievement of objectives, financial measures, contributed resource quality and quantity, and the overall relationship. The more a firm is diversified, the less the need for monitoring at the corporate level. Third is coordinating the portfolio to obtain synergies and avoid conflict among alliances. Because the interdependencies among alliances within a business unit are usually greater than among different businesses. And last, establishing an alliance management system support other tasks of multi-alliance management. This infrastructure consists of formalized processes, standardized tools, and specialized organizational units. All but 2 of the 25 companies established centers of competence for alliance management. The centers were often part of a department or for corporate development or a department of alliance management at the corporate level. In other corporations, specialized positions for alliance management were created at both the corporate and business unit level or only at the business unit level. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Divine Natalie Jacinto. I am the next reporter. So, let's talk about the corporate parenting. What is corporate parenting? Corporate parenting, in contrast, views a corporation in terms of resources and capabilities that can be used to build business unit value as well as generate synergies across business units. In other meaning, corporate parenting means the collective responsibility of the council, elected members, employees, and agencies for providing the best possible care and safeguarding for children who are looked after by us. Partnerships between the local authority, department, services, and associated agencies who are collectively responsible for meeting the needs of look after children, young people, and caregivers. For example, if the company has a strong corporate brand, so any given business could benefit from that brand strength on its own. So according daw ni Campbell, Gould, and Alexander, ang corporate parenting daw is generates corporate strategy by focusing on the core competencies of the parent corporation and the value created from the relationship between the parent and its business. So in the form of corporate headquarters, ang parent daw ang may great deal of power sa relationship. So second, according to Campbell, Gould, and Alexander, there are 3 corporate parenting strategy. First, we have examine business unit or target firm in the case of acquisition in terms of its strategic factors. So it means that one popular approach is to establish centers of excellence throughout the corporation. So according daw to Frost, Birkinshaw, and Ensign, Center of Excellence is an organizational unit that embodies a set of capabilities that has been explicitly recognized by the firm as an important source of value creation. So sa second one, examine each business unit or target firm in terms of areas in which performance can be improved. So, these are parenting opportunities that people at corporate headquarters may, because of their experience in many industries, spot areas where improvements are possible that even people in the business unit may not have noticed. Lastly, we have analyzed how well the parent corporation fits with the business unit or target firm. So the corporate parent must ask whether it has the characteristics that fit the parenting opportunities in each business unit. Next one, we have the horizontal strategy and multi-point competition. When we say horizontal strategy, it is a corporate strategy that cuts across business unit boundaries to build synergy across business units and to improve the competitive position of one or more business units. May other meaning rin ang horizontal strategy. So, when used to build synergy, it acts like parenting strategy. And when used to improve the competitive position of one or more business units, it can be through as a corporate strategy. Second one, we have multi-point competition. Multi-point competition is a large multi-business corporations compete against other large multi-business firms in a number of markets. So these multi-point competitors are firms that compete with each other not only in one business unit but also in a number of business units. For example, at one time or another, cash-rich competitor may choose to build its own market, share in a particular market to the disadvantage of another corporation business unit. Although each business unit has primarily responsibility for its own business strategy, it may sometimes need some help from its corporate parent, especially if the competitor business unit is getting heavy financial support from its corporate parent. In this instant, ang corporate headquarters daw, sila ang mag-develop ng horizontal strategy para ma-coordinate ang mga various goals and strategies para sa mga related business units. Next one, we have functional strategy. Functional strategy, the approach a functional area takes to achieve corporate and business unit objectives and strategies by maximizing resource productivity. Functional strategy also is a business strategy that focuses on the action plans by a particular functional area in order to achieve the set of business objectives. Just as multi-divisional corporation has several business units, each with its own business strategy, each business unit has its own set of department, each with its own functional strategy. Example sa functional strategy is the targeted marketing campaigns, streamlined logistics for supply chain management, and innovative product development processes. Last one, we have marketing strategy. When we say marketing strategy, it is a long-term plan for achieving the company's goals and creating a distinct and sustainable competitive advantages. So it also deals with pricing, selling, and distributing a product. We have two parts sa marketing strategy, the market development and the product development. Pag sinabi nating market development, it is a growth strategy that identifies and develops new market segment for a current period. While ang product development is a series of steps that includes the conceptualization, design, development, and marketing. So that's all for today.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kayla C. Banog and tonight I'll be walking you through three important strategies that companies use for ensuring their sustainability and long-term success. So, these are financial strategy, research and development strategy, and operation strategy. Each of these plays a key role in helping companies remain competitive and adaptable in a fast-changing business environment. So, let's begin with financial strategy. When we talk about financial strategy, we're referring to how a company manages its finances to support its business goals. Financial strategy not only ensures the company's financial stability, but also helps it gain a competitive advantage by securing funds at lower cost and raising capital when needed. For example, companies might choose to either raise capital through debt or through equity. This means that they can either borrow money or sell ownership in the company to fund their operations. And the decision here is critical because it impacts the company's financial structure and overall performance. Take Apple as an example. Apple prefers to keep a strong balance sheet with minimal debt and large cash reserves. Why? To maintain flexibility. According to their former chief financial officer, Peter Oppenheimer, they want to be prepared for anything that comes up, like new investment opportunities or financial downturns. So now, companies have different views on debt. Some companies avoid external financing entirely, like Erstwhile Laboratories, a family-owned business. They avoid that to maintain full control within the family. On the other hand, some analysts argue that using debt strategically, called financial leverage, can boost earnings per share and raise the company's stock price. However, too much debt can backfire. High debt levels can lead to problems when the economy slows down and a company's cash flow decreases. Research also tells us that companies use different types of financing depending on their corporate diversification strategy. For instance, equity financing is often used for related diversification, while debt is preferred for unrelated diversification. This trend explains why more acquisitions are being paid with stock rather than cash. So one more financial strategy I'd like to mention is the leverage buyout, or the LBO. In an LBO, a company is bought using debt, and that debt is repaid through the acquired company's future earnings or by selling its assets. Example is in 2006 and 2007, LBOs were a big deal, with the total value hitting $1.4 trillion. The idea is that the acquired company, in a way, pays for its own acquisition. But this strategy can be risky, as the heavy debt load might cause the company to focus only on short-term issues, sometimes leading to its decline. Dividends and stock buybacks are also important. Companies in fast-growing industries like tech companies often don't declare dividends because they use the money to reinvest and grow. But if they're not growing as fast, they might buy back their own shares to increase earnings per share and boost the stock price. For instance, in 2005, more than 1,000 US companies announced $446 billion worth of stock repurchase plans. So this is a popular strategy because it typically increases a company's stock price and makes it harder for other companies to take them over. Lastly, there's the reverse stock split, where a company reduces the number of its shares to increase the price per share. While this can temporarily boost the stock price, it often doesn't address the company's underlying issues. Moving on to research and development strategy, this is all about how companies innovate their products and processes. So, companies need to decide whether they want to be pioneers or followers in the market. Should they invest heavily in creating new technologies, or simply improve on what their competitors are already doing? So, being a technological leader can be expensive, but it's one way to differentiate a company's products. Example is Nike. They spend more on research and development than most of their competitors, focusing on developing high-performance athletic shoes. Because of this, serious athletes often prefer Nike over other brands. On the other hand, being a technological follower allows companies to offer similar products at lower cost. Dean Foods Company is an example of a follower. They don't necessarily create new products, but they offer existing products at lower prices, which attracts cost-conscious customers. So companies also face decisions in how to access new technology, whether through internet development, external acquisition, or forming strategic alliances with other companies. An example would be Chrysler works with its suppliers to develop parts for its cars. This partnership allows them to innovate without shouldering the full cost of development. Other companies use open innovation, meaning they look outside their own walls for new ideas. For instance, Procter and Gamble has a goal that 50% of its new ideas should come from outside the company. So they use technology scouts to find promising innovations that P&G can capitalize on. Another approach is for companies to invest in corporate venture capital. Instead of developing new technology internally, they invest in startups or smaller companies working on innovative technologies. Finally, let's talk about operation strategy, which deals with how and where a company manufactures its products as well as the relationships it maintains with suppliers. So, operation strategy looks at the level of technology a company should use in its manufacturing processes. So, companies are increasingly adopting advanced manufacturing technology or AMT, which includes things like robotics and automated systems to boost efficiency and productivity. Example of this is the Baldor Electric Company, the largest maker of industrial electric motors in the US, used advanced manufacturing technology to build a cost-competitive plant with only one-tenth of the employees that their foreign competitors use. As a product goes through its life cycle, operation strategy often evolves. In the early stages of product's life, company may use job shops for small, customized production. But as demand grows, they switch to more efficient, larger-scale production systems. Also, companies are shifting from traditional mass production methods to strategies like continuous improvement and modular manufacturing. Example of this is the auto industry. The General Motors and Ford use modular manufacturing where pre-assembled parts from suppliers are delivered just in time for assembly, and this reduces cost and increases efficiency. Lastly, there is the emerging concept of mass customization, which allows companies to offer customized products at scale. Dell Computers is a good example here. So, Dell lets customers design their own computers online, then manufactures them according to each customer's specifications. So, this gives Dell a competitive advantage by combining customization with efficiency. So, to wrap things up, financial strategy helps companies decide how to fund their growth and manage their resources. Research and development strategy drives innovation, keeping companies competitive in a fast-moving market. And operations strategy ensures that companies produce their products efficiently while keeping up with technological advancement. So all of these strategies are interconnected, and together they help companies stay competitive and sustainable in the long run. So that concludes my report. I am now giving the floor to the last reporter. Thank you for your attention.
Good evening, everyone. I am Ishikin B. Villanueva, your last reporter for this evening. I will be discussing 4 important functional strategies, including purchasing, logistics, human resource management, and information technology strategies. Let's start with purchasing strategy. Sa purchasing strategy, involved dito kung paano kinukuha ng manufacturer yung raw materials, parts, tsaka supplies na kailangan nila sa operations tsaka sa production ng products. The basic purchasing choices are multiple, sole, and parallel sourcing. Multiple sourcing meaning yung company nag-o-order ng particular part from several suppliers, hindi lang sa iisa. Ang advantages are high bargaining power. High bargaining power ng company because nafo-force yung suppliers na mag-compete sa isa't isa para makuha yung company. Kapag nangyari yun, bababa yung purchasing costs ng company. Another advantage is they can switch to other suppliers quickly kasi pag nawalan ng supply yung isang supplier, pwede silang kumuha sa ibang suppliers ng parts na kailangan nila sa production. Ang disadvantage is kung mas mababa yung presyo ng parts na kukunin nila, minsan nako-compromise yung quality. Sole sourcing meaning sa isang supplier lang kumukuha ng particular part yung company. The advantage is the buyer and supplier work closely together, fostering a partnership that can lead to better quality and innovation. The disadvantage, however, is delayed production if supplier is unable to deliver a part. Parallel sourcing meaning yung company kumukuha ng two different parts sa dalawang magkaibang suppliers. Pero yung dalawang suppliers na yon kaya din nilang i-produce yung part ng isa't isa. So, kapag hindi kayang i-supply ng isang supplier yung lahat ng parts niya on time, yung isang supplier yung dadagdag sa kulang. The advantages are it combines benefits of both sole and multiple sourcing and reduces risk of stockouts or production delays. The disadvantage, however, is it requires careful coordination to ensure consistent quality and supply. The next strategy we're going to discuss is logistics strategy. This refers to the planning and management of how products move into and out of a business. It focuses on the efficient flow of goods from suppliers to customers and includes various activities like transportation, warehousing, inventory management, and order fulfillment. Three trends related to this strategy are evident: centralization, outsourcing, and the use of the internet. First is centralization. It involves consolidating logistics operations within a single team or location, usually at the company's headquarters. Instead of each department managing its own supplies and shipping, there's one central office that takes care of all the ordering and delivery. So, ang example ng centralization is Shopee Supermarket. Diba sa Shopee Supermarket, for those who have experienced it, may iba't ibang products from iba't ibang brands din na nandun na. So, isahan lang yung shipping. Next is outsourcing, which means hiring external companies known as third-party logistics providers to handle transportation, warehousing, and other logistic tasks. It's done to reduce operational costs and focus on core business activities. 3PL providers have expertise and resources that can improve service quality and efficiency. An example of this is Shopee. Shopee partners with logistic providers like J&T Express, Flash Express, and Ninja Van to handle deliveries. Lastly is the use of internet. Companies are increasingly using technology to manage and optimize their logistics processes. For example, kung business owner ka and sa Shopee ka kumukuha ng raw materials for your business, mas mabilis mong natatrack kung nasa na yung order mo kasi may feature yung Shopee na nakalagay kung nasaan na exactly yung in-order mo. Pwede ka ring mag-chat sa agent nila if ever na-delayed yung shipment ng in-order mo. The next strategy we'll delve into is the human resource management strategy, which involves how a company manages its workforce to achieve its business goals. The book highlights three topics from the human resource strategy, including self-managing teams, 360-degree appraisal, and diverse workforce. Ang self-managing team ay mga employees na pinagsama-sama to achieve a common goal without a direct supervisor. So, lahat nagko-contribute sa decision-making, kaya na-empower yung mga team members to take ownership of their tasks, and often leads to higher job satisfaction tsaka better performance. Ang 360-degree appraisal is ginagawa ng mga companies para i-evaluate yung performance ng employees through collecting feedback from multiple sources including supervisors, peers, subordinates, and even customers. Nakakatulong yung feedback na yun sa employees para malaman at maintindihan nila kung anong tingin ng ibang tao sa performance nila sa company, para mas maging balanse tsaka constructive yung evaluation. It can also highlight strengths and areas for improvement. And finally, there is diverse workforce. This includes employees from various backgrounds, including different races, genders, ages, and cultures. This helps companies have competitive advantage because diversity brings a variety of perspectives and ideas, which can enhance creativity and problem solving. Companies with diverse teams often perform better as they can connect with a broader range of customers and adapt more effectively to changing markets. The last strategy we're going to talk about is the information technology strategy, which involves how a company utilizes information technology to enhance its operations and gain a competitive edge. A strong IT strategy helps companies stay competitive by using technology effectively to streamline processes, enhance communication, and improve customer experiences. It ensures that technology aligns with the company's overall objectives. Follow the sun management is a way of organizing work across different time zones. It involves passing tasks and projects between teams in different parts of the world, allowing work to continue around the clock para walang masayang sa 24 hours. For example, when a team in one country finishes their day, they hand off their work to a team in another country where it's morning. This way, the project keeps moving forward without downtime. This approach maximizes productivity and speeds up project timelines as work is done continuously throughout the day. It also allows companies to utilize global talent and resources effectively. That's all for our report. Thank you everyone for listening.